Hey guys, my name is Michael. I'm with Power Sports Wraps, and today we're going to be showing you how to wrap your very own Honda Grom. These things are awesome, and we're going to make them look pretty awesome instead of just this black. So behind me on this wall here, we have our patterns, or our templates, everything cut to fit. We're going to use yellow for this demonstration so that you can kind of see more clearly how these pieces fit and everything. Most of the time these are going to be sold as like full color effects like the shark face or carbon fiber or something really cool like that. But again, just so you can see how this goes, we're going to use yellow. Over here on this table we have the very basic things that you'll need for install. You didn't even need the tape, I just taped up the graphics with it. You have clean paper towels, rubbing alcohol. With your kit will come a Power Sports Wrap squeegee and also a packet of adhesive promoter. I already opened mine, we'll talk about that in a moment. And I like to use a razor blade just to peel up the patterns from the paper as we go. Yours doesn't have to be taped up like this. You can have it just set on a table, but for ease of illustration, I taped it up so you guys can see how I peel them off, how I handle them and hold them and everything like that. So, to show you how to begin, we're going to start by prepping a panel. We're not going to prep every panel as we install this because the yellow isn't ultimately going to stay, but just to show you how you would go about prepping your own bike. Now, if it's relatively clean, like this one is here, you don't need to wash it beforehand, but if you were driving in the rain or got muddy or something like that, you're going to need to wash it before you get to this step. But say your bike looks like this. You have rubbing alcohol on a clean paper towel. You're just going to start by just kind of cleaning this, and kind of like waxing a car. You're going to push as you're doing this. It's not only the rubbing alcohol that's cleaning it, but it's you pressing on this as you're going around it. So just give this a nice buff in the area where it's going to go. We want this to be perfectly dry when we install it. There are graphic films that are made to be installed wet. This kind is not, and we will show you why. So we're going to pick our first piece that we want to install. That's as prepped as you need it to be. So our first piece that you saw me cleaning there was this piece here. Like I said, I like to use a razor blade to peel it up. Also, at this point, it would be good to mention, if you want to wash your hands before you do this, that would be a good idea. If your hands are greasy, take a little bit of that rubbing alcohol, pour it on here, and just kind of scrub your hands with it. That'll get any oils off of there. And otherwise, feel free to handle the film. So peel it up, take it into your hands, hold it like this. So as I was talking about how you won't need water, I don't know if you can see it in this video, but there are very, very small cross hatches cut in this vinyl. That allows air to escape as we're installing it. There is no need for water. Along with that, it is repositionable. Not that you can pull it off a month later and put it on your buddy's bike, but as we're installing this, say I get it on there crooked and it's all pushed down and I don't like where it is. Well, that's not a big deal. You can probably, in a half an hour after you put a piece on, go back and pick it up and reposition it wherever you want it to be. So say it's time to install this piece and we want to get it positioned. I'm just going to set that up there. I like to position it using this hole right here on the hole of where the screw is on the panel. So I'm just going to tack that up there and find where that is, which ours appears to be right about there. Just like that. So then I'm just going to drop this over, just like this. And you can use your finger like you see me doing, or we can grab our squeegee, which is this here, and just lay this stuff out just like that. Now again, it is repositionable. You can go back and you can pick this whole thing up and do it all again. That's the point of this stuff. It makes it so easy. You don't actually have to really worry about it. How do you mess up a piece like this? You would literally have to drop it on the ground and step on it to mess it up. Because you can pick it up. You can reposition it. If the film touches itself, you can pull it back off. Everything like that. It makes it very easy. And since these are all cut to fit, you basically just keep it within the body lines, and that's your kit. So since we laid this out, just going to squeegee this. You just push the air to the edges, just like that. And we're working our way up and around this. So what you can do is you can kind of guide or direct the film to lay exactly how you want it to, or to follow those lines. So for ours, I'm going to put that there. I'm going to lay that like that. And this, I'm going to put just like that. So then you can come up here, readjust this area, just work it down along here. You could use heat if you really felt the need to get it to conform to something, but these panels are so flat. As you see, you don't really need heat for any part of the application, but afterward, when you're done, you should take heat, whether it's a hair dryer or if you have a heat gun. If you have a heat gun, be careful because you don't want to burn it or anything. And just go around your edges and push the kit down with that heat, and that helps seal it to the paint so it gets nice and set. At any time, the graphics are removable, but they are not just going to come off. They're made to be able to stay durable for quite a long time. So there's your first piece. Like I said, we're going to show you how to install all of the pieces up here on the board, but we're not going to prep every piece. It's roughly the same as you would with that other piece there, except for a few things which we'll cover once we get to those. So pick your next piece that you want to install. I like to work from right to left. So I have this piece. So for this one, I get it lined up with this bottom edge here, with my bottom edge of this piece. So it looks like this. Once I find where I like it, I just tack this bottom edge, kind of figure out where it's going to lay and work it with my finger. Up just like that. So again, peel it back, and you just keep working it. You would want to take your time. I mean, try not to rush. You want these pieces to fit well, to line up, and ultimately to stay on for a while. So take your time, especially with the prep. The prep is the most important part. So now with these pieces, I like to make this gap as even as possible. So with this, what you can do, like we talked about up here, is guide the film. So get it started to where it's there, and then just guide it along so it's roughly the same gap the whole way down. With a kit that's not solid color, this is less important. You're not going to see whether you have a 32nd inch gap in one place and a 16th inch gap in another place with a pattern, say like carbon fiber even, shark face kit, flames for the most part. This is not as big of a deal. But with a solid kit, I like to see if I can get that as even as possible. So now you have this little valley in here. Very similar. You're just going to kind of curve this in, bend the vinyl to where you want it, and it wraps right into this little valley, right along here, and down to the edge. I want mine a little over. Just like that. So you're just going to lay this stuff in to those edges, just like that. So we have some air left up here. Say you get an air bubble, like I have right here. I have an air bubble. This is not a big deal. I don't even know if you can see it, but you just take your finger and you work it out. So even if you do get an air bubble, there's no need to peel it back. With that air release technology, all you do is just kind of take your finger, go over it a couple times, and you'll watch the air completely escape. So it's really, honestly, impossible to install this wrong. You don't get bubbles, and you can reposition it if you want to. So that's our second piece there. Let's do this piece, our biggest piece, here next. Again, I like to use the razor blade just to pick it up off the paper. You don't have to do that, but you can if you'd like. I just kind of have it stuck to my hand here as we're carrying it along. So with this piece, you're going to start by lining up this top edge. Just like that. Get that where you want it. Okay, see, I like that. And then we're going to, so you're going to probably work from one to one way and then the rest of the way. So what I like to do once we kind of have it this far is peel this arm, let's call it, back, and just hold both edges, eye it up where you want it to stay, and stick it right there. Since this is a large area and so flat, for the sake of time, just use the squeegee to lay it down, wrap your top edge in. It folds over there pretty nice and easily. These patterns fit so you don't really have to do a lot of work. As long as you line up, your starting edge pretty well, everything's going to fall in there. Since I'm the guy who made the patterns, I would know. So, this is going down like that, right underneath there. Just like that. If it were easier to get a bubble with this film, I would show you how to push it out, but literally it's just like you're laying it down with the squeegee. Here we go. So, a couple bubbles right up here. So just take your squeegee and work them just right along there. Bubbles gone. Completely gone. Here's another one. I don't know if you can see it. Press it, it's gone. That's how this air release film works. Like I said, to hurt this or to screw it up, you would literally have to drop it. It's repositionable. If you don't like where it's stuck, pick it up, do it again. Very, very easy. Let's move on to this piece, which is next as we're going back. What you might notice in some of our products when you get them is there are these little cuts made. What we call these are just relief cuts. These are where the product arcs around a curve. So to make it easier for you to install, the relief cuts are there, so you don't even really have to worry about it. So this piece lines up with this front edge, obviously. So get this positioned how you're going to like it. Right along that front edge. Start by tacking that edge down, and just work your way back with it. And as long as that front edge is lined up, all your relief cuts will line up with those places where the bike has a curve, and it makes it much easier for you to lay this stuff down and in. If this were a pattern kit like the shark face, you would already have all of it on the bike. It would completely change the look of it. I kind of like it yellow though. So next we have this long piece here. Pick it up. So for this piece, very, very simple. Line up this edge with where it fits on the kit. Start it. I like to go back and just kind of eyeball it, walk it down, and then go back and press the center out. Since this is air release, you can do that. You can kind of skip a part of it and go back. So here I kind of pushed myself into a little crease. Not a big deal. Pick it up, lay it down. Crease gone. Alright, so moving on to our rear tail piece. It looks like this. So our rear tail piece is made to line up with this back edge to this front edge. So we're going to take our piece, position it left to right where we think it works best and it looks best, which I think is there. So we're going to just kind of, with our finger, with the squeegee, whatever you prefer, work down that part of it. Then you're just going to roll over the back. I just drag my thumb across this because it does roll over the back just a hair. And then use our squeegee so you can see without my hands in the way. You're just going to lay this down where the pattern sits. Same thing with this side. Just going to use that to work it down to where it sits. And that's it, just like that. So if you were doing this on your own, you'd pretty much have half of a whole side of the bike done. Let's look at the swing arm piece next. This is our swing arm piece. Forgot to take that out. So you can pick this up just like this. Now the way that you're going to line up the swing arm piece, we have a cutout for this adjustment bolt back here. I like to drape it over my hand, kind of like this, and start with this back piece. So get it lined up around that bolt where you like it. I think it looks good right there, personally. So I'm going to leave that hang just like that. And go back and set that. So, now, you have the stickers behind here. Is that a big deal? Not at all. You can take them off if you want. There's no reason to have to. I'm going to go right over these. In all of my installations that I've done, I go right over them. It's not a huge deal. Doesn't affect it. You can not really even see it, especially if there's a pattern on there. I suppose you could see a little bit more on a solid. So if this is running straight this far, really all you got to do is take your squeegee, which I will show you in just a sec. Since it goes behind here, it really carries the effect all the way along here. Take your squeegee and just let the squeegee lay it in all the way back behind there. Just like that. And once you go and push this down, just like that, your swing arm piece is done. And yeah, you can't even really see those stickers even with the solid color. So just like that. Okay, very good. Now we're going to move over to this plastic piece here. This plastic is different than your bike's plastics. Your bikes are glossy and they're very smooth. Vinyl sticks to that very easily. Since this has a bit of a texture to it, you can even hear it as you run your fingers over it, that's where that little white packet we gave you comes in. The 3M adhesive promoter. We could pretty much make this graphics kit stick to Jell-O with the adhesive promoter. Not that we would do that, but basically pull out your little yellow foam thingy here that has the adhesive promoter on it. We're not going to do it to this one because it really makes it stick well, but go around your edges. It's not even necessary to do it through the center, really. We're just worried about our edges. So go around your edges with this. Wait for it to dry. It'll have like a little rainbow colored haze, just like rubbing alcohol does, until it dries. So say that was done, and it's time to pick up our piece. Have it in hand. We're going to bring it over, position it where we like it, which for my bike is right here, right there, and right there. Lay this down. Again, it's personal preference whether you like to use your finger as much or whether you like to use the squeegee. For little pieces like this, I like to use my finger. Just push them down, just like that. And then push your edges down nice, get those locked down, and done. So that is the complete side of the bike, except for the front fender. Let's move on to that next, our front fender. With the front fender, the way that we've kind of built it here, I like to build up. So I'm going to start with this piece, then we're going to go to this piece, and then show you how to do the top piece. So pick up the piece that goes at the very bottom of the fender. Has two holes in it, the cutouts for the bolts here. That's what you're going to use to line it up. So pick where you want it, set it, push it down, and then up here, just line it up with this top edge. Get that where you want it, and push it down. Some people have asked about sending their panels to us and us putting them on and sending them back, but really, we hope this video will help you to appreciate how simple this is. It's literally peel and stick. Kids do this with little stickers in their own coloring books. So this is kind of like what it is, but on a much awesomer scale, let's say. So this is our next piece. Goes on the front here, kind of more spear-shaped. We're going to line it up with the other piece. Looks just like that. Usually leave just a hair of a gap, I would say. One is made to go below the line, one is made to go above the line. So start there, just like that, and then just take your finger and work it into this valley, just like that. Once you've got it this far, this is done, just like that, and we can work it forward. So take your finger and just direct it. You got to follow this arc here, direct it along that arc. It's very pliable. This is a 2-ply film, let's call it. You have your base film, which is white in most cases, unless it's textured like a carbon fiber, and then an image or color is printed on top of it, and then it's hard laminated. Literally a clear sheet of vinyl of comparable thickness is applied to it. So these aren't very thin in vinyl standards. They're actually just right. It's kind of like stiff enough where it's not like a wet noodle in your hands, and you're able to kind of maneuver it around how you like it. So that's that. Let's get our front piece. Now, to be honest, this piece is probably the hardest piece of the bike. But that's not really saying a lot because this bike isn't that hard. So we're going to grab this, pull it off of there, and come to the front. Why don't I twist that like that? So to start, kind of let the tails flop back here. There's no need to worry about those right now. We're going to line this edge, of course, with the edge of our vinyl. So we're going to get this started by just floating this, let's say, into position. See, I think that works good there. Just tack down the center of it. Okay. Then just give it a little stretch as you pull it back. Okay, then tack down the full middle. What you've done here is created a hinge. You can have this side free, and you can have this side free. This allows you to work one side and then come back and do the other side. So for lining this one up, let's do this side first. Just kind of take your time and work it right along this. As I said, this is probably the hardest panel of the bike, but it's still done in probably under a minute if you timed it. So just work down your edges here. This being a wrapping film, it's really made for things much more complicated than a relatively flat install. Full cars are wrapped with this very same vinyl. This is overkill for this application. That's of benefit to you because you're working with films that installers prefer for doing bigger jobs to do your own bike. It makes it so easy. Like having the right tool for the job, having the right vinyl, it makes it so smooth. So that's done. We're able to go to this side. If you were installing this kit yourself, I would prefer to have this piece and this piece on first, then do the top last. That way you can kind of line everything up how you like it. So same thing, you're just going to lay this piece out. Where you want it to go, following this body line, how it arcs, of course. Alright, so once you get it this far, kind of like we did with the other pieces, we're just going to hold this tip of it and direct it along where we want it to go, which is just about like that and like that. Okay, that piece is on. So we have two pieces left. We have this piece and this piece. This is the textured plastic again. So use that, the rest of that white promoter pad that you had, and promoter this as well. Okay? So let's grab our pieces. I'm going to bring them both over there, just for the sake of time. So this is our top piece. So what you want to do is just stick it there. See where it needs to go. Mine needs to go left a little bit. Okay, no problem. Pick it up, a hair left, lay it down. Okay, that looks pretty good. I'm going to straighten it out. Right side is down. Same thing over here. Just pull this across. Left side down. The piece is literally done. Now, for our lower one, this. Same thing kind of like you did on the front fender. Line up this bottom U shape with this bottom U shape. Which is about there. Center hinge it so you can do one side at a time. When we say center hinge, all you're doing is just pressing it down with your finger to lock down the center of it, and that way you can work the left and right sides. That side is done. And we pick up this side, work it across, side is done. So as you've seen, That was everything for more than one side in just this video. If you weren't making a video, imagine how quick this install would go. In an hour, you have completely custom panels of your bike. We're able to do custom fills and different things, meet requests, as you probably already know. So this is how cool your bike can look in just a couple minutes. Very easy to work with, and if you have any questions, you can of course call. My name is Michael again. You may have known Pete from being on the forums. Our phone number, 814-838-6377. If you have any questions, feel free to call or check us out on the web at powersportswraps.com.